Welcome everybody to Black Heart Horror. Today is actually our first movie series review. How I'm going to break it down is I'm going to give you the basic synopsis of the plot, then I'll give you the spoiler version of that, and I'll go through my likes, dislikes, and that will be for every movie. And after we get to the last one, then I'll rank them how I personally liked each one. When we talk about these movies, these ones are actually Jordan Peele's 3 directed movies. We're going to look at some of the movies he produced in the future, but they're involved in some other series I have planned, so they're not going to be here today. And so the first one we're going to go through is his first, probably his most popular one, Get Out. And Get Out, the basic synopsis is it's an interracial couple and they're going to go meet the girlfriend's parents. And while they're staying there, some weird and creepy stuff happens, and the boyfriend, he starts to become wary of his surroundings. And the spoiler version of the synopsis is that the family, they are very weird and not openly racist, but they like to brainwash and take over the bodies of Black people that take their talents or have their talents for themselves. And what I did like for this movie is the concept of brainwashing someone and then having them get their body taken over. They have like a surgery scene where they take out one person's brain and put it into the body. So the concept was very interesting and I liked it. Some other things I liked was all that family, they did great at being like super creepy or unsettling or just being like awkward at times. And you definitely felt that when you watch the scenes because you're just like cringing at what they're saying or how they're acting. And it definitely comes across, so that means they did a great job with it. Some other scenes that people, got from it was when the groundskeeper, he was running straight at Chris and you thought maybe he was gonna get attacked or tackled. And he just changed directions randomly. And then he looks back and sees like the maid looking at herself being all weird in the window, and you're just like, what's wrong with these people? And then later on, obviously, you find out that they got taken over by some of the white family members. And so once he goes through all those creepy things, he goes back inside, and that's when we get one of the more famous scenes from the movie where the mom uses her teacup, and she basically makes Chris go back through his past and his trauma, and then she slowly basically kind of puts him under hypnosis, and then he's able to be taken over. But he wakes up and he believes it was like a creepy dream or if that really did happen, but that was just like the first step toward the family trying to actually take him over. So it was funny because the person that was actually trying to take Chris over was actually nice to him and didn't really seem like he was a racist. It seemed like he was blind, he liked photography, and Chris was a photographer, and so he wanted Chris for his talents and his eye for the pictures. And he wasn't really about his race, it was more about his talents for that specific transfer. So they had like a nice conversation, they were very friendly and nice, and even when Chris was tied up and getting ready and prepped for the surgery, even the blind man was just like, I'm not all about that race, I'm not into all that. I just want your eyes, he wants your talent for what he can see. And when it was really cool how Chris, he was able to actually like take the stuffing out of the chair that he was strapped to and drown out how the mom was trying to hypnotize him or brainwash him again. And then he was able to fight back against the family and slowly take them out one by one. And the twist was his girlfriend was actually in on it, and she had multiple Black boyfriends and brought each one to the family to brainwash him and have him be taken over. And it was a nice little twist because the whole time you're not even sure if the girlfriend is involved with this, if it's just the family, but she was involved at the end, and that's why she was like hiding the keys and everything. And then even when she talks to his friend on the phone, when the friend's looking for him, she just has like a straight blank face, shows no emotion. She's also very creepy and in on the plans and is okay with brainwashing and basically killing people. I was happy that Chris was actually able to escape The family, all the family members were killed. Chris escaped. His friend saved him at the very, very end. And I'm glad they went with the happy ending, other than the alternative one where Chris gets arrested and framed for all the murders. I thought it was a great directorial debut for Jordan Peele, and I personally liked it a lot. The next one we're going to talk about is personally my favorite of the three. Spoiler, Us. And Us, the synopsis, as you can see here, Us's basic synopsis is there's like doppelgangers of everyone on Earth coming from underground and slowly killing the regular human people and taking their place. But the spoiler is that the main leader of the underground doppelgangers was actually a regular human, and the doppelganger switched places with her when she was a child, and so the doppelganger is living the family life while the real one is actually stuck with the doppelgangers underground and was tortured and went through trauma, and then decided to basically do an uprising with the doppelgangers to take their places and kill everyone that wronged them, even though they weren't aware that they're wronging them, but they were up on the surface world. What I really liked was the opening line. It's like creepy. In the very beginning, Adelaide, when she's a child, she walks away from her parents at one of the, what do you call it, like the amusement park they were at near the beach, and there's just like this random ass clown maze in the sand, and there's like no one in line, no one's going through it, but she just happens to find it. And why would you even build a maze on a beachfront to begin with? It should be up in the amusement park. I don't know why it was that, but that was weird. But it was creepy when she went through it, and eventually she saw her doppelganger, and then it cuts, and you don't see the rest of it till later. But like I said in the spoiler synopsis, the doppelganger actually choked the real one until she was unconscious, and then switched places with the family. The main characters, Adelaide, Gabe, Zora, and Jason, they did a great job at playing their own counterparts. So they did dual roles. They played the regular human characters, the family, and then they also played the doppelgangers from underground that had like very askew, weird, and violent personalities. And all the actors and actresses did a great job at playing the creepy parts and the normal parts, and so they had to go back and forth with each other. And I thought that they did a great job with that, and they portrayed both the good and the bad selves really well. I like the costumes of the doppelgangers, also called the tethered, like the red jumpsuits and obviously the scissors, and just like their various little quirks and tendencies, and how they all hold hands together like they're in unison as a family. One of the best scenes was when the tethered have the family in the living room, and Red, the leader of them, gives a monologue with her raspy voice, and she was like crying or like tears a little bit because of all the pain and trauma she felt as she was talking, and it was all creepy, and you're wondering even why her voice is just like that. And obviously it's because she got choked out when she was younger. But it was a great creepy monologue, and it definitely added to the scene, and I thought she delivered it very well. Their friends, their rich white friends, their deaths were like super fast and immediate, like out of nowhere. And I like that as well, because like you don't really expect it, because you're like, oh, they hear something, but then they just come out of nowhere and just kill them all. And that was pretty cool. And how each of the doppelgangers or the tethered die was cool, fun, and creative. It wasn't just like they were stabbed to death. Like the dad, he was basically cut up from the boat's motor in the water, and the daughter, she got flung off and like stabbed through a tree. The son, he burned to death by the regular son walking backwards, and so the tethered one would walk into a fire. And then I like the final like fight scene with Adelaide and Red, and how like the music was like going with the exact movements, and how it was like a dance but a fight, and it was like the ballet in the background. And it was a very fun and like artistic fight scene, and I liked how it showed the background of what really happened at the very end. And so then you realize the whole time the main character was actually the bad guy, and I thought that was a nice little twist. And I loved how it was like a semi like psychological slasher flick, and it was a very fun experience. Next we have Nope. Just from like doing some research online, it looks like some people are mixed on it. It's not a bad film at all, but it just wasn't, I guess, like his first two in a way. But I still found it interesting, the concept and what happens. So the synopsis, basic synopsis, is brother and sister, they're on a ranch, and they basically believe that they come in contact with aliens, and they want to prove it and make money off of it. And the spoiler synopsis for this is it's not aliens, it's a single alien. And it's a giant alien in the shape of a regular UFO, but it turns out it's actually a giant, kind of like jellyfish alien living creature that sucks everyone up in like a tornado and then eats them all. It's attracted to people staring at it in bright colors, and it seems like it's almost impossible to kill or track down. I thought that was a very interesting concept, and I actually really liked the design. I think they called him Jean Jacket, and his design, or the thing's design, when it went into its jellyfish form, was really cool. I liked it a lot because I personally haven't seen another creature that looks like it, and so it's like a one of a kind creature. And I thought, like, with its flaps out and it was like doing the weird motions and like the tendrils and like how it was like so fast and brutal, it was like a very interesting creature, and I liked Jordan Peele's take on it. And so to go through some of the notes I have, in the very beginning, you just hear like brief screams from the clouds, and obviously you don't know about the creature yet. So you're like, what the heck, why is there screams come from the clouds? And then blood and random objects start falling, and it's like, what the hell just happened? And I will say in the very beginning, before the brother and sister duo discover the alien, I actually did not like their character personalities. But I liked it I liked the movie more once they figured out there was an alien, and then they kind of, for me, it was easier to watch. It was just OJ's personality at first. He's very like monotone, has no emotion, and kind of seems like he's not socially like aware of things and doesn't know how to talk to people. His sister is like the opposite. She's super outgoing, sarcastic, like wants to get her name out there, but doesn't really care about her brother's feelings at all. And so I actually did not like either of their personalities. But then once they figure out there's an alien, they actually come together, they bounce off each other, they're more alive, more palatable for me personally. Once they their personalities became more connected, I guess. One thing that I remember my first time watching, because I didn't get anything spoiled, when OJ goes through the barn and then he sees the alien creatures, I was like, oh shit, there's actually like aliens here. But then no, it was actually just like a prank done by the local, like, I guess like ranch amusement place run by Jupe. And they were pranking him because he stole, his sister stole a horse statue, or horses. I was like, dang, I wanted to see all these creepy alien creatures. They look really cool, but it was just fake. The interesting thing was in between, this whole plot line with them trying to track down and record the Jean Jacket, there was these flashbacks of Jupe, the owner of like the Western amusement place, of him when he was younger on a talk show, like not a talk show, but like, I guess like a family show, like with him, his like mom, dad, sister, and all that, and like they had like a pet monkey, and it would show like the monkey went crazy after a balloon popped and started killing everyone in front of the kid. I mean, it's interesting that they showed the backstory of Jupe and like how he wanted to cling on to the fame, and like, Gordy the monkey killing the whole family, and it was like his trauma. But it didn't really connect, I guess, with the main actual plot. It was just like a little side past story that they were showing for this character Jupe, even though he wasn't really a main character. He was like feeding horses and people to Jean Jacket for like his amusement. They get more people to come in. It's like an event. There was like a show basically, and he was feeding horses and people to gain Jean Jacket's trust. And I guess, like, him being popular from the past, he wanted to be popular for his future, and like he has a trauma for what he witnessed when he was a kid. But he dies, I mean, not quickly, but he dies earlier than I thought he would. And then it's just like, okay, what was all that past stuff about then? If you're going to show all that and not really make him like a main character and have it affect the other two main characters, then what was the kind of like the point? And so, like, it was cool to see the crazy monkey kill people, but it didn't really, to me personally, like connect with the Jean Jacket thing. Like, there could be, some symbolisms, but like on a base level, it was just like, why? Like, when Jean Jacket was actually shown him coming out and killing people and sucking them up, and like their screams and them going through like a tunnel and just blood coming out, that was crazy. When the blood showered down on the house of M, that was really cool, and I like that visual. The film capture sequence when they all, they get the famous cinematographer, and they get like their friend in, and they set up this whole plan. They finally capture footage of Jean Jacket. And that whole sequence was fun. It was exciting. It was nerve-wracking because you're wondering who's going to live, who's going to die. Are they actually going to capture Jean Jacket? You think OJ is going to die because it looks like he's sacrificing himself, but he ends up living somehow. It doesn't say how, but he just survived, and he just shows up after. And then the sister M, she kills Jean Jacket by sending a giant like balloon of the mascot of Jupiter's place up into the sky, and then Jean Jacket tries to swallow the balloon and he blows up. But at the same time, she's actually able to get a picture of Jean Jacket, so then they're actually able to get evidence he was alive and there, and then they killed him so he would kill no one else. And then I like the visual of OJ, the brothers, like aura farming with his horse at the end, looking really cool. But it didn't really explain how he lived or if he even died or got sucked in. It didn't really explain. It just like, it looked like he was going to sacrifice himself, and then he just shows up. And just like, okay, I guess. So I would say overall, not a bad movie. It's just some things like here and there I guess I would nitpick at. But my favorite thing was Jean Jacket's true form when he looks like a giant alien jellyfish creature. That was amazing. So if I had to put all three of these movies in my personal order, I would have Nope at the bottom. Like, again, it was not bad. It's just my least favorite of the three. And then second, I would have Get Out. Get Out is number 2 for me, because I just like the creepy themes, and the family and the acting was really well done. And then my favorite is Us. And I really liked the creepy tethered doppelgangers and their acting. And it was kind of like somewhat of a slasher flick in a way. And I have a soft spot for slasher movies. It seems like something so simple, but then with the added on twists and turns and psychological stuff that they did with the movie, it made it even better than just a normal slasher. Again, none of these were bad at all. It's just my personal opinion, and you are allowed to have your own. You can like one over another, or you might like Nope better than the other two and have a different view than me, and that's completely okay. Again, this is just my own thought process, my own opinion, and I would like to hear yours down in the comments. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.